Well, hello. Hi, I'm Robert Bell, Director of Economic Inclusion and Equity for Hamilton County, Ohio. I want to thank you for allowing me to be present to present today to your group. And I'm here to talk about Hamilton County's economic inclusion journey. Hamilton County needed to be willing to measure itself in two areas, purchasing and procurement and delivery of service, to better understand what it currently is doing and, if needed, to make necessary improvements. But to make those improvements, we needed a plan, what we call our equity framework now, and we needed new tools. But before I explain what the framework is, let me share one of my blossoming success stories. And it's about our environmental services and recycling and waste reduction program. Here it is. And I want to talk about this program because it really relates directly to what you guys' purposes are. And I want to show you how the equity framework has really helped this organization, our organization, and our what we call our resource, which is our reduce, reuse, and recycle program. So first, because they've implemented the assessment and monitoring and assessment tools, they now collect demographic data on program participants and work to ensure that all county residents are adequately served. They work to produce supplemental learning materials and expand their communication efforts to reach all segments of the population, including other language, using foreign language interpreters, and that kind of thing. Third, they continue to establish a presence and work to form stronger partnerships in underserved communities. And that's a very important part of the equity framework, what I'll talk about later. And then lastly, they continually work to engage community stakeholders and influencers in supporting recycling services. They are making some really good progress in this, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later. But let me tell you about what equity framework is. The equity framework, which is a best practice being utilized across the country, takes a direct look at the various forms of the disparities, which include individual, institutional, and systemic. Equity mandates that a group's race or any other demographic category it belongs to should not be the main determinant of its success. Equity means justice, freedom from bias and favoritism. It promotes equal access for all while identifying and eliminating barriers. And this is important to promote equal access, but at the same time, to really identify the potential barriers that are preventing full participation of some groups. And tackling this issue is not easy, and it requires an understanding of the causes of economic disparities within our society. And so this brings us to the fish, the lake, and the groundwater, which is the basics of the equity framework that we work from. When you look over, suppose you're a bright, sunny, beautiful day, and you decide to go to this lake near your house. It's a beautiful lake, and you're just sitting out there enjoying the sunshine and the fresh air and the breeze. And you see several fish. All of a sudden, you see several fish here and there have died and floated to the surface. And you think there is something wrong with those particular fish. Wonder what we could do to help them. But later, when you see hundreds of fish or even 1,000 fish floating on the surface of that same lake, what do you think now? You think we need to take a look at that lake. But I'll tell you, but just trying to fix the lake itself may not be the answer, not totally. Geologists have found that 95% of fresh water is not above ground, but below the surface of the groundwater. And groundwater connects many lakes in a region. Oftentimes, the real solution is to address the groundwater to address the real problem. That's called a systemic solution. And that's what our equity framework is based on. So equity framework has become our plan to really implement the equity framework. But next, we needed tools to implement it. And I want to talk more about those tools. And one of the tools, and this has to do with our purchasing and procurement, and I'll talk about our service delivery, which resource is an example of a little bit more later. But as far as our purchasing and procurement, we started our journey by putting together an organizational-wide vendors list that all departments could easily access. We call it our Bold Fit Contractor Directory. The Bold Directory is a list of all vendors that want to do business with Hamilton County, and it also identifies the businesses that were small and minority-based businesses. This was the first time we have ever done something like this, and it has been valuable to all of our departments. It took us a few years to get there, but we now have over 550 businesses of all types, excuse me, on our bold vendor list. Next, we worked to ensure that all interested vendors were registered with our purchasing notification system, which is Periscope BidSync, so that they could regularly receive notices of our contract opportunities on a regular basis, as well as get all the information they needed to respond to our purchasing opportunities in construction, professional services, and goods and services. So that was very important to get that connection established with all the vendors who are interested in working with us. The next tool that we've done is really looking at policies and procedures. And so we implemented some new policies and procedures for our micro purchases. And for us, micro purchases are under $1,000 using local funds and less than $3,000 using federal funds that do not require solicitations. So we have a policy that departments should, whenever possible, first utilize small and diverse businesses listed in our bold contractor directory. And it has made a major difference in our achievement of some of our diverse goals that we have. For small purchases, less than 50,000 local funds and less than 250,000 federal funds, which is a lot of money, and that's for us, but for 250,000 with federal funds is still a small purchase. But think of the kind of opportunities that we put out in the community constantly with those size contracts. And but they do require the solicitation of 3 quotes. So departments shall ensure whenever possible that it receives a quote from at least one firm from our bold contractor directory that provides the product or services and is capable of doing the work. And so those are policy changes that we put in place that are really impacting, our efforts and impacting our results to really be inclusive with our economic development and spending. Another tool that we use is training for vendors, and training for vendors is a national best practice that we implemented with our Doing Business with Hamilton County training. The purpose is to help potential vendors understand, 1, what Hamilton County goods and services needs are, 2, what differences our purchasing thresholds mean, and then 3, how to participate in these different purchasing thresholds and methods that we utilize. An important added purpose of the training is to help Hamilton County staff learn more about and get to meet members of our small and diverse community pool in Hamilton County. And for me, that's just as important as the initial reason, but just to help us understand who's out there and who's capable of doing work for us that we may not be aware of. Another tool that we use is training for staff. This year, we also added that for staff who are responsible for purchasing goods and services for our departments. It's called supply chain management and supplier diversity. Our equity framework tells us that supplier diversity should not be an afterthought. It should be a natural part of any organization or department's supply chain management strategy. Our premise is that good supply chain management naturally leads to successful supplier diversity results. The statistics bear that out, and we are really finding some good benefits from providing this training over the past year. So that's a major tool that we use too, is just to help staff understand what their role is and ensuring that we have true supplier diversity at Hamilton County. For over 4 years, our overall quarterly department spending went from single digit average, maybe 1%, 2%, or 4%. Now it's achieving around 20% each quarter for a summary of all our departments. During various quarters, a number of our departments have hit the 30% and 40% range in their diverse spending. What we have learned is that economic inclusion and equity is a process, though. We have, however, found out what we needed. Found what we needed, an effective framework in which to work and a variety of effective tools we can continually add to improve our process. So we're really excited about the results we're getting, and we just wanted to share that with you. A key part of it, and with our service delivery piece, as well as with our purchasing and procurement opportunities, a key part of equity framework is the concept of engagement. From the root word engage, which means to induce to participate. You have to persuade businesses and people to participate in your services, and you have to have them understand what's in it for them and what the benefits are. And we began to look at ways to engage, and so did Environmental Services and Resource Initiative. They looked at ways to engage the community by encouraging them to partner with us in the development of strategies to help them. And that's a whole new way of doing work here at Hamilton County. So if you'd like more information about the Hamilton County Environmental Services and what we're doing with equity and inclusion with Hamilton County Resource, here's contact information. Feel free to contact Brad Johnson, the director, and especially Michelle Balls, who is the manager of our waste and resource initiative. If you're interested more in what we're doing on purchasing and procurement improvements, you can contact me at this number, Robert Bell, 513-946-4428, or send me an email at robert.bell@hamilton-co.org. Thank you for your time. Like I said, we're really excited about it, and we're just happy to share this with others. So good luck on your journey. Thank you.